Hello and welcome to Now Streaming Sports. It's the time of the week where we'll come together to discuss one thing that unites us all, which is sports, cutting across football, volleyball, basketball, and every form of sporting activities. And we are here this morning to look most especially at the just concluded events ranging from Europe down to Africa and the ongoing National Sport Festival here in our nation, Nigeria, hosted by Ogun State. All right, to do the discussion this morning with me is my co-anchor, Godwin. Welcome, Godwin.
Thank you so much, Ibuka. Like I always say on the show that I get excited when it comes to sport. And this week or in the past few days, a whole lot of actions actually took place in the world of sport. And I'm glad that we would be diving into that discussion this morning.
All right, thank you, Godwin, for always being here to co-anchor with me. And with us in the studio is somebody from the, like I said earlier, from the red side, who is wearing a blue jersey this morning. Mr. Rafael Oja Okomo, a Ghana fan, a social commentator, and a sports analyst. Welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Ebuka. At least we have something to talk about that brings joy and peace to our mind, because that's what we need. If you look at everything that is happening around you and you act with what is happening around you, you'd almost want to disappear from the face of the earth. I cannot pass on the opportunity to say congratulations to Chelsea for winning the Conference League, and congratulations to Comrade Soko, the Pretenders.
All right, so just like you said, congratulations to the Chelsea fan. And we have somebody on the blue side this morning on the show, Comrade Abraham Soko. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. It's always a pleasure to talk sports. Good morning to our viewers. Congratulations accepted from me.
Pretenders.
Thank you very much.
And Ibuka, just to add, there's someone that have been beaming with smiles since morning, and that is Engineer Chigoze at the backstage.
Just behind the
behind my press point.
All right. So we also have somebody on the white side, someone from all the way from Spain, joining us on the show this morning, where Dr. Desiree Izu is on the show this morning. Doctor, good morning and welcome to the show this morning. All right, thank you. So before we begin to discuss the few of the stories we will be discussing this morning, viewers, please remember that you can join this conversation by calling the number showing on your screen, or equally sending in your comment via our various social media handle equally showing on your screen. So before we go ahead, let's take a look at the front page of the Punch Sports Extra. The lead story there says 50 million euro man. 50 million euro man and euros, and that's Starboy, the current CAF player of the year. That's Lookman on the front page of the paper. It says Atlanta name prize for Lookman as Juve push for Nigerian. All right, that story is on page 6 of the Punch Sports Extra. Another star boy is on page 6. It says sign Usime, not Dilap. Right, and then page 2 has the story on Ogun government slams impatient athletes after sport festival protest. And also another story still on Ogun 2024. It says Ondo will win gold in Abula and wrestling. That's on page 2. Page 7 has the story on Teller rubbishes avoiding Eagles claim. All right. Page 7 has the story on Waneri battles Jamal Kabarsi for Golden Boy Award. And then we have another story on page 3. Milan begin talks for Garnacho. And page 5, United urged to sign Bellingham. All right. So Bellingham. Anyway, it's possible. I don't know.
Is it the Jude or the I've forgotten the younger brother's name.
No, this is Jude Bellingham from Real Madrid.
Are they playing?
you know. I think Man United has a common ground with Real Madrid, because they had to go get Casemiro, and now they want to go and get Jude Bellingham. All right, so yeah, page 5 has the story on Liverpool plots 100 million euros for a Kiteki swoop.
Ekitike.
Yeah, and page 7 has the story on impossible to break Tyson record. That's Eta Uma. Finally, on page 6, it has Onyeka to join relegated Bochum. All right, and that's that on the front page of the Punch Extra, Punch Sports Extra. All right, so let's now start a discussion with the National Sport Festival hosted by the Ogun State government. A couple of weeks ago, before the tournament started, the state government. Through the state governor said that they are ready for the National Sport Festival. And to be sincere, I've seen a lot of things that wows my attention. Something I did not much expect from the planning, but we are recording. We've recorded a couple of successes and a couple of new track records from the Ogun 2024. And now looking at the table of the gold medals and all what have you, we have over 1,000, over 1,533 medals so far. In the on the ongoing festival, and topping the table there we have Delta State as usual. Every time we have Delta State at the top of the medal table in our Nigerian National Sports Festival. And what's something a state caught my attention because the past 2-3 editions of the National Sports Festival, you've hardly see FCT on the top 10 list.
Yeah,
and now
I'm looking at it and I'm seeing FCT as number
8, and that's very, very impressive for the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria to be on the top 10 states list of those with medals. Mr. Raphael, what do you have to say?
The table doesn't surprise me. The only surprise I have there on the table is Edo State being very, very far away down there. I think fourth or fifth thereabouts. Usually the sports festival is always Delta State and any state that is hosting. Delta State, any state that is hosting, or Delta Edo and any state that is hosting the event. I'm even surprised seeing Bayelsa up there, and I want to believe what the reason why they have all those gaps up there, maybe due to some sports they took part in that other states didn't take part in, especially maybe swimming and what have you. Swimming has a lot of medals. People don't just take cognizance of all those sports. But we know that Delta State back to back to back, even if they don't win it, they end up as the runner-up. But for the past 3 years or 4 years now, if I'm not mistaken, it's been Delta State all the way. It means the sports commissioner in Delta State is doing well. And if you also check, most of our athletes that are doing very well, even in the national level, most of them are from Delta State. You have people like Brume, Favor Philly. Do you understand? Except for the Toby Amuson, who
even Blessing
from Okabari and the likes. Do you understand me? So it means that they are doing something that other states are not paying attention to until it gets to that maybe sports festival, and they hope, because there's this thing that we do in Nigeria a lot. Other people will be preparing, and we just send our people there and pray that something good comes out of it. You know, God doesn't work like that. Say faith without work is dead. So people have been working. I think that state has been working for a good number of years concerning this sport, because if not, you cannot be winning it. Just like Real Madrid winning back to back Champions League. I think Delta State is the Real Madrid of National Sports Festival, because they do well. And then I also want to give kudos to Ogun State. Yes, they are third on the medals table. They're also doing very well, winning on home soil. You know, some people would host competition and you not even see them in the tournament. They would just maybe call up people, just like you cook and people come to eat and you don't even see anything to eat. And they are there third on the table as of today. I think this table is as of today, which means there are still some games going on which might change this table, but I'm sure nothing is moving data from that position. And I want to give kudos to the governor of Ogun State, Governor Abiodun, and his team who has put this in place. We've not recorded any any negative reports about
aside from the quick action that was recorded on the Punch Sports Extra. It says Ogun government slams impatient athletes after sports festival protest.
Those things they come every now and then. You see people who want to just bring bad lights to an event where there is no need. Do you understand me? But in all, I think the state has put in a good show for the country. My only pain is that I didn't see my state in top 10. I'm just wondering where they are. Until I heard about Abula. You're reading about Abula and what have wrestling. You and wrestling. No, but all in all, but my take on this is this. As I was coming, because I listen to sports news every now and then. On my way here, and I was listening to how I think it was Ogun State. I can't remember the state that won the poll vote. And I said to myself, poll vote. And then in Africa, we don't see Nigerians taking part in these games or even in Commonwealth games and what have you. And my mind went to Duplantis. Duplantis is the world record holder, Olympic holder, whatever holder you want to call, from Sweden, who keeps beating everybody that comes his way in any competition that has to do with poll votes. And then when they were now reading the meters that the Nigerian man covered and the one that Duplantis covers, I just told myself, nah, I don't understand why they cover. But anyway, but this sports festival gave us a lot of games. The question is, what now happens to these gold medalists, all these games? Why not bring them all together? Maybe all the those on the medals podium, from bronze to gold, bring them all together. Maybe if it's to organize another game again for all of them again, or find a way to groom them, because as it is right now, I don't think Nigeria can boast of sportsmen when it comes to international competitions. That's why people like Favor of Philly, Ese Brume, Toby Amuson, the weight is too much on them, because everybody expects them to carry the weight of 200 and something million Nigerians.
But before you go to that point, Raphael, I want to draw your attention to the fact that there are some unforeseen circumstances in sports commission. Across
we always
sporting
having
activities.
unforeseen?
Yeah, because I have a few records. I have a few records of persons who were affected, who they are best in their field, but they have been limited because of some.
Let me tell you,
act of godfatherism,
it's not unforeseen.
One thing or the other.
Now you're mentioning it. Unforeseen are things that maybe you didn't expect to happen. Maybe before an event you got injured, you cannot go. This one is not unforeseen, it's seen. We can see the hand. Favor of Philly, who just broke the 150 meters race, just broke the record recently. One of Nigeria's best 200 and 100 meter track athletes, female athletes, went to the Olympic, and we were told that she was not registered to run. And I'm sure that person that didn't register her is still in office. That person is still in office. How do you forget to? How many athletes in Nigeria register in the last Olympics? That you say you forgot to register one
your
person.
Key person, and it's not even just anybody. It's somebody
who do we have in 100 meters to run that you say you forgot? The only person that is to go and run, you forgot to register, and then you're now coming to beg, please, maybe that they will allow you to. I think anyhowness happen in this country, and then we expect it to trickle down to international whatever. They went there and started begging that, can you please allow her? When people for over 4 years have prepared how they want their event to pan out, you now come with your anyhowness, unprepared, in fact, the character stinks, and you now come on the international stage to say we are seeing if we can beg them to allow them, when they've already fielded somebody on that spot since they didn't get any information from you. They fixed somebody there already. So they'll now go and tell the person, okay, sorry, Nigeria has come back. Don't be angry. Maybe next time. It doesn't happen anywhere. So it's not. There's no such thing as unforeseen. We see all this lackadaisical attitude into the way we do things, and that's what when we talked about in the previous show. We talked about Jam and Wayak and what have you. It happens everywhere. Now you have a lot of guys who have broken records in these games. What are you doing with them? Tomorrow somebody will come and tell you one story, and please.
Rafa has a lot to say this morning, but we must take the views of other guests on the show. I hear Dr. Edesiri is back, and Doctor, welcome to the show. We were just talking about the National Sport Festival, and Delta State here again in this 22nd edition is on the top of the table. I want to find out what state are you from and where is your state on the table chat?
Now, pride, you go take the answer.
Come on.
I talk am. Say na pride. Now I don't tell you. Say na pride. That's the arranging shirt.
Like those who their state is going down, that they do find crude oil.
All right. All right. So that,
like you said.
okay.
Move on.
Yeah, please
Okay,
let's hear a review on the.
Delta is known to be the hub for the cradle of not just sports, but even entertainment. Most of the comedians, most of the showbiz artists you have today, they are also from Delta State. There are Godai, there are Yosef, there are several who are also not from Delta State, but they have the Delta flavor. They grew up here, or they are very tough. But many people think that Paul is Delta, and though it's not, but he also grew up and had some upbringing here. And so when it comes to the Delta spirit, the fighting spirit, some states too, when they want to fight, you threaten you. When Delta, they just go straight to the point, they just break the button, the fight starts, there's no introduction, it's just straight to the point. So that's how we are in Delta, and that's the spirit with which we are winning this game. It's very encouraging. I think there's an innovation they brought in this sports festival. There's an IG invited junior athletes. I don't know if I'm surprised I haven't talked about it because it covers a lot of ground in the comments. The invited junior athletes are junior athletes of a certain age who do not make their states contingent. And so they gave them to be like the 38 states. And they've also won some gold and they've also won some silver and gold. And that shows that the states where they originally came from should have to go and check themselves. Because if the person won't go when you not invite him,
you didn't invite him.
Now, as we invited you, then you would have got that gold for your state. So it means the selection process for those states where they originally came from also needs to be checked, which brings us into the issue of meritocracy. So that's a very positive innovation. And then also the officiating and everything has gone quite smoothly except the process. I bet you declare respectfully from Raphael when he said that some people are just being pre-nationalized. If you have been in Nigeria before, it happened in the Olympics in Japan, or was not when the Nigerians said they will not go. There was one when Nikkei had to pay for the team's flight. Several times at international tournament, the players have gone on strike. Super Eagles go, not under something, the main team will not go play unless you bring our money. And that's because of the trend, the nature, knowing that this year you have the upper hand. If you don't strike now, if you wait till later, by then, we are presenting your request 9 of the year, and we are still committee 9 of the year. Was not just we should be here that somebody took a senator took a boy to go and stay governor, and the governor said he paying scholarship or giving money, and then the senator Papa also deducted his own share from the same money they gave the boy for scholarship. So I don't blame the Ogun State athletes. I don't blame them, because if you're in their shoes, you will do the same, except you are just doing maybe you don't need the money. It has happened several times. So it's because they have exhausted all internal ministries. Now that it has come to public attention, they will get their money. So I don't think that they were hasty. I really think they were being proactive, knowing that if it finishes some ways, they will not have the upper hand. But overall, I would think they've done quite well. And I want to re-echo the comment that Mr. Rafael said. For one, seem to agree with something. The issue of sustainability. Now people are talking to getting 20 gold, 50 gold, 55 silver, 80 bronze. What happens next? When we are going for the next All Africa Games, we still rely on the foreign athletes. We rely on the injured to be and what's wrong with the injury. The one that is getting 50 gold, get it. So are we going to wait till the next sports festival again? Then the same people will come and carry gold again. What are you doing to the sports festival and the next? What are you doing between one Olympics and the next?
Mm-hmm.
Now, all these sports festivals, youth games, all the names you call it, are actually recruitment grounds. They are not breeding grounds. They are places where you spot talents. The next thing is, what do you do with those talents you have spotted? And it's something that we need to look at holistically as a country. We don't have a holistic sports development culture. Now, that one that is being pulled that Ralph was talking about, he has shown interest. With proper grooming, his height will only improve. Before, cricket was an animal in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
But Nigeria has entered as a sport.
Yes.
And we are doing well with African regional tournament. If we are said, I bet not be our team, not be our team, we won't be there. Even now, rugby, we are also doing well in rugby. So the point is, having identified this person has interest in Congo, what has government done? If Shell or Movie now give the person scholarship to go abroad and increase talent, tomorrow Nigeria will not invite him. I think our became now we born out. No, we should only be laying claim to ownership. We should also show effort in sponsorship, in deliberate development. What are these sports bodies, sports federation, athletic federations? What are they doing? Where are they? Are they should be at the tournament, sporting talents. And it's not just only gold, silver, or bronze. There are some that come close fourth, some even fifth. But the potential is there. At Usain Bolt's first Olympics in 2004 Athens, he didn't come bronze. He came, I think, fifth or sixth in 100 meters. Or by the next Olympics in Beijing 2008, he not only won gold, but the world record. Something happened in those 4 years. Yes, the athletes have been wrong. But athletes don't ever chop, then won't go wrong. What is the government, what is the sports federation doing between now and the next sports festival? Finally, don't forget, this is Ogun Gateway 2024 sports game, New York Capital 2025.
Yes. It was supposed to happen last year.
We're going to hold it in 2024. And that's not the first time. It's not the first time that we are failing to hold the sports festival in the year it ought to be held. So if people cannot even plan for their own sports festival, you can imagine how they can plan for the athletes discovered at the sports festival. I'm happy that it's at the front burner, and I'm happy that we are making progress, we're increasing the number of sports, we're increasing that, but we have to go beyond that into now increasing sustainability of these athletes so that they can be a constant production line from production to when they are discovered to constant improvement, so that by the next time you are seeing them, if they are running 10.5 100 meters today, by the next time you are seeing them, they're running 10.0, maybe 10.2. By the time you are seeing them again, it's now go to 10.1, even 9 point. That's how you now know they are growing, they are improving, and not hoping that maybe one of them get admission to the University of Texas, they may don't get admission for abroad, God will do them. This God will do them mentality we have to stop, because yes, God will do them. But there's when we men supposed to run as man, then God will not bless the work of our hands. Thank you very much.
All right. Before we let you go on this now, what's your advice to the National Sports Commission on the talents discovered and the reviews and all we've seen from the Ogun 2024 Unity Sport Festival?
Number one is to increase funding for sport. You can't, Christianity is free, but you have to buy Bible. No matter everything you do in business requires funding. Even if you have the best plans, you need money to fund those plans. That's number one. Number two, they have to have deliberate programs. These people now, you don't have to test them only at sports festival. There's a regional game somewhere. Take them to let them go and run. Give them coaches. How many coaches does the Athletic Federation of Nigeria have? How many coaches does the Swimming Federation have? If you recall, at the time, it was Daniel Gali that was funding our wrestlers.
Yes.
The state wasn't funding them. The government wasn't funding them. So what programs do you even have? Which coaches do you have to groom this? So there has to be improved funding. There has to be deliberate programs, both training of the staff, of the coaches, and of the athletes to keep them busy. Keep them busy. Number three, the infrastructure has to be there. I'm a great fighter, but you don't really go on. I want to fight. I'm a great sprinter. I have spikes. How can I run? I have spikes. I don't have good fast lane tracks. How can I run? I should go and run on grass or run on sand. Do you understand my point?
Yeah, I get your
Now,
point.
we have got listeners. Here are their genes that they can look at our national stadium in Lagos. Who wants to train them? How many facilities do you have? And our best players are playing on people's every day. Which training pitches do you have? With eagle-eyed coaches, they're guiding them on how to run as an athlete, what to eat as an athlete. They're eating apple every day. So the government should put these things in place properly, funding, recruitment, coaching, keeping them busy with either national or regional tournaments, so that they're not waiting for the next thing. Preparation for every 9 seconds that the Usain ran, there were constant hours of practice for him to come and deliver 9.8 seconds in 100 meters. They have been running. So we have to keep these people running, keep them busy. And that has to do with funding, recruitment, get the right coaches, and then providing the appropriate infrastructure and environment. If there's insecurity, I cannot run now. I will give on my life first. So I think the government has to do more than just what they are doing now. That's just what I want to say on this one.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Izu, for that very inciting analysis there. Comrade Soko, I believe you are still with us because I'm coming to you. Dr. Izu and Mr. Raf in the studio here have raised a whole lot of salient points that we must look. For me as a person, I would want to say very big congratulations to all the athletes so far that perform. But first amongst equals would be Delta State. That is my state.
and the, young stars and the young invited junior athletes who were not picked by their state, but were given an opportunity, and they are currently sitting 18th on the medal table.
Indeed, these are all that we would say are very much commendable. But one thing just to add up to what Dr. Izu said, I'm looking at for a time where the National Sports Commission across all the states, but most especially at the national level, just like Mr. Raf spoke about harnessing the potentials of all of those who came out with, I think, gold medals and the rest, harnessing them, and so many of which in developed climes you discover how sport could take people through higher institution in form of a scholarship. This is not on account of what you know, but what you know through sport. And sport is seeing you through school. You are in this school because you are this good in sport. If we can inculcate that, I think within the state, several state institutions, take for instance Delta State, if no other state would start it, I would be encouraged to tell...
Okay, I thought you said you were encouraged to start it.
No. I would be encouraged to tell my state sport commissioner to look into this, go into partnership with all of the higher institutions in Delta State. If we are leading the medal table, we should also lead as regards to harnessing these potentials, keeping them in check and helping them to get the best out of life. Of this.
But Godwin, let me point out something to you. Those Deltans who are topping the medal table with 98 golds. Do you know that there are prizes attached to each gold medal at about 2.5 million or thereabouts?
Indeed, there are.
So after this sports festival, any athletes who won a gold medal or more than 1 or 2 gold medals, let's say for instance somebody wins 5 gold medals in this, multiply it now.
Okay,
that person is not supposed to find school fees again.
No, I wouldn't want to look at it that way because we live in a time where the inflationary rate is so high, and you cannot say because a particular athlete is so good and is coming out with say 2-3 good in different sports. These are the giftings of that person, and even the Bible is clear about it, that the gift of a man maketh way for him. So we shouldn't be saying because of that. What the state should do is it should be a form of encouragement to other upcoming athletes to toe that same line. If Delta State is to maintain this medal table, this will help. But I would want to take the comment of Comrade Soko on some of these issues. Soko, if you can hear me, so much have been said. Congratulations to our states, because I believe you are also
Rafael,
from
where is your state?
I was looking for
State.
them.
So what is
Ondo
your
right
overall
now?
what is your overall assessment so far, very quickly, of the national sport festival that took place all the way in the gateway state of Ogun? Let's get your assessment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Godwin. I would want to state that since 2004 till date, Delta State has emerged winner in all the sports festival except one, which was in 2011. Rivers hosted and Rivers won that particular sports festival. So Delta State has been stellar as when it comes to this sports festival. Even before, when we were together with, when it was called Bender State, we were still dominating the sports festival. So generally, I would want to give kudos to the Ogun State government for putting together this spectacular event. It has been really, really exciting. I think I watched the final of the football competition between Team Ogun and Team Kwara. It was spectacular. There was one particular goal where the player was, I think, his name is Emmanuel, and that goal was spectacular. It was a mix of Messi and Ronaldo. It was just waving, dribbling the entire defense line of Team Kwara before he scored that particular goal. So it has been a spectacular sports festival. And I was able to see some really, really odd sports that I didn't know that we had in this country, and we had people participating in this particular sports. One that stood out for me was a sport called the tech ball. It's a mixture of I think table tennis and football,
yes.
and it is played in an inverted surface.
Yeah.
In inverted table tennis board.
Yeah.
So it was really odd, and I was like, yeah. So I was really surprised that we were able to actually infuse this into the sports festival, and then generally the facilities that I saw was really good. The table tennis conference room, they had lots of board and all that. So I think it has been a very, very good sports festival. We have had some issues. Obviously, the unpaid allowances from Team Ogun and I think Team Kwara, and we had issue with power in, I think, the 10,000 meter race marathon. There was, I think, power went off briefly. So as soon as they finished the race, it actually came back on. So generally, it has been a really good one. So I would want to also add my voice to what Dr. Jesus stated, that it's good for us to have a sustainable way of developing these talents. And it's not just for us to abandon some of these individuals after the sports festival. We should try to sustain their growth. We should try to make them sponsor some of these athletes to regional games and international games. So it's actually a good one. I also want to lastly commend the Delta State government, because all honor is due, honor should be given, because it is not a fluke that Delta State has been emerging victorious in this tournament. That was to say that there have been a continuous effort by these state governments to develop some of these talents. For instance, if you come to Delta State, I think the state we have like 3 functional stadiums. The Stevikeshi Stadium in Asaba, I think we have top tier facilities there. Then even the Polytechnic have almost a world class stadium in Delta State. I think that is in Ugara. If you go to that particular stadium, you won't believe that it's a stadium that is owned by a school. So generally speaking, in spite of, I understand that Deltans generally are interested in sports. They have that talent, they have that dedication, but we should also give kudos to the state government. I think now the state governor has approved the overhauling the renovation of the Warri Stadium. So it's part of the project that is undergoing right now. So it generally is a good one for Delta State. So kudos to the Delta State success governor and the successive governments that we have had as regards sports development. Thank you very much, Mr. Godwin.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's now move away from the National Sports Festival Ogun 2024 Gateway Games, and let's now just a couple of hours ago we saw the battle. Initially, it was Jollof War, and now we saw a battle between Nigeria and Ghana at the Unity Cup competition holding in London, and Nigeria won.
Indeed.
So it's
the
not
the sweetest joy.
so Nigeria won the game. We defeated Ghana 2-1, and Nigeria we saw Nigerian player Desar scoring the first goal, and the second goal was an own goal from the Ghanaian, and then we saw the Ghanaians putting back one to continue the fight, but the time wasn't enough for them to defeat to equalize the goals. So Raphael, let's hear from you. Now we have 4 teams, 4 countries in this Unity 2025. This is the second edition of the Unity Cup competition, and 4 teams have Nigeria,
Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica.
All right, and currently now to the finals we have Nigeria against Jamaica on the 31st of May, and then third place we have Trinidad and Ghana playing on the same 31st. So let's have your review of this game.
I had the opportunity of seeing the game yesterday, even though Nigeria did very well in the first half, but in the second half went to sleep. Probably practically did not play anything in the second half, I have to say, maybe because of the coaches' tactics, asking the guys to sit back, and of course when they sat back, the Ghanaians got themselves back. But if you watch the first half, when Nigeria kept a high line, the commentator the commentator at some point was wondering, saying, what is happening to this Ghanaian team? What is happening? There were errors everywhere, and as in the moment Nigeria gets to them, there's error every corner. And then at some point, the referee, a Premiership referee, Stuart Atwell, was the one that was in the middle. I know the commentator said, he said, that I quote, this referee would have to come to the second half with another whistle, because the way he has used it in this first half, he might need another one in the second half. Then I was watching the game with my younger brother. It was like, this referee the way he don't blue only for this first half. I'm not sure say don't blue like this for a match of Premiership, because the players kept falling and what have you. And at some point, I think he called them and spoke to them. And I think that ended, and we now saw a good game. And the Nigerian had the opportunity of fielding a lot of local based players. We saw Sikri Alimi, we saw Papa Daniel, we saw Sadiq, and a few of them, about 6 of them thereabouts, who had the opportunity to also hone their skills, even in the Ghanaian team also. But in the first half, the Nigeria was the better team. Second half, the Ghanaians took the stage, but like you said, it was too late to call by the time they wanted to rally around again. But things I would want to pick in that game is the fact that we really need a lot of work to do. Yes, Desas has come to show that he can
deliver,
battle that same position with Osimhen, or better still, you play him and Osimhen together, you will always deliver. And the guy loves Ghana. Every time he plays against Ghana, he scores. And then you also have one thing I struggled to understand yesterday was Nwabali. I didn't understand what Nwabali was doing. You give him the ball, he's holding the ball, not making decision as to who to pass the ball to. Almost cost the Eagles yesterday. And also, we need to also look for a creative midfielder, because Chukwueze was being put in that position to do something yesterday, but we saw a glimpse of him in the first half, but second half he just faded away, and maybe that's because they stepped back. And another thing that, again, I want to point out is Nigeria is not a team that sits back. We've always known Nigeria as a team that attacks. From the 94 glory days, where we had two strikers up front, Amokachi playing alongside Rashidi Yekini. You have Finidi on the right, you have Amunike on the left, and of course you have Olise and Okocha in the middle, or Thompson Olea or Samson Siasia. We are not a team that sits back. We're a team that attacks, and then we don't play boring football. That's why in 94, 95, Nigeria was ranked as the top 5 footballing nation in the world. But you come and you see Nigerian teams sitting back, and teams that should not even be mentioned alongside Nigeria in football will be playing Nigeria as if we don't know what we're doing. But the local lads gave a good account of themselves. I think Nwabali should be spoken to, because yesterday at 66 minutes, I noticed he was doing and what's that thing called when you start wasting time at 66 minutes. And I told delay tactics, and I told the person that was watching it with me that this guy doesn't understand football, because if he understands football, you will know that someone like Lewandowski scored 5 goals in 9 minutes. You will not be doing this rubbish that you're doing.
We're coming to Chelsea's game. And Chelsea won
scored,
their match.
Yes.
Just with 20 minutes to
what I say 20 minutes, they scored 2 goals in 5 minutes.
Manchester
United won the Champions League in 1999, scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes. And then you're there at 66 minutes. You're wasting time.
Have about almost
making
20,
the ball
20, 30
boring to watch every time they give you the ball. And then I don't understand when Nigeria started playing to the back. We get the ball, everybody's passing the ball to Nwabali, who we are not even sure if he can pass the ball with his feet, because every time the ball got to him, he just finds a way to just make a mess of it. And he still doesn't have control of his area. So those are the things that I believe that this friendly match should be able to open the coach's eyes to, because it's a friendly game. Take it or leave it. We call it Unity Cup. Nigeria won the first edition of the Unity Cup. I think it's 2001 thereabouts. So this is another opportunity to see some of these players who, and some of them have not still played. We have Tolu Arokodare on the bench. Yesterday we have what's his name, Teller also on the bench, and a few of them. Maybe against Jamaica they will be brought on the field. But like Godwin said, we had the best jollof yesterday. Either they like it or not. I told somebody in the house, I said, if you're playing against Ghana, even if it's table soccer, don't let them win us, because we'll never hear the last of it. And then we got our win, and we'll be waiting for the Reggae Boys of Jamaica on Sunday, I believe, to slug it out for the final.
All right, thank you. So, Comrade Abraham Soko, we've heard Raphael's review. Can we get your own review concerning the game against Nigeria and Ghana yesterday, and also the one Jamaica against Trinidad day before yesterday?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. I would want to say that we had a really, really good performance, because we actually won. Sometimes football cannot be all beautiful during the entirety of the match. So I believe that the most important aspect of this particular game should be the result. As Mr. Raphael said, we started actually very well. As at first half, it was already 2-0. And as a result of probably the changes, and I think it is actually normal. I think in most football I've watched in recent times, when the team is winning, there's that tendency to sit back and actually defend. And that was also what happened in the game against Real Betis and Chelsea. As Real Betis scored, in the first 20 minutes they were playing very well, and all of a sudden they sat back, and Chelsea was able to come back and win that particular game. So that was the dynamic that Super Eagles game had yesterday, and we are lucky that Ghana was not able to pull a comeback. For Nwabali, I think he's becoming overconfident. I believe that, and that is not actually really good. I believe that he should continue to work on his craft, work on his talent, and resist that tendency to be overconfident. I believe that that position to also be rotated. I'm glad that Okoye was on the bench yesterday, and so I believe that our coach should actually give Okoye a chance, just to prove to Nwabali that it's not the only choice. So generally, it was a good game. The home-based players that we fielded were not spectacular, to be honest. They were average. And what I would want to say at this point is that I don't know what Ian Shaw and Musa are doing in the Super Eagles team right now. To be honest, I believe that it's time for them to hang their boots for good right now, because if they are, maybe we should go and get Okosha and Kanu back, because I don't know what they are doing. They should hang their boots and move on. So generally, it was a good game, and I look forward to the finals against Jamaica. I did not see that for the Jamaica and Trinidad difference. I did not see that particular game, to be honest. So I'm glad that we have qualified to the final. Thank you.
All right, so Nigeria versus Jamaica is up next, and we will hope that our boys, the Super Eagles, will do better than they did against
It's
Ghana.
the reggae boys of
Yes,
Jamaica.
yeah, and defeat the reggae boys. Let them not go and dance reggae in the field of play,
We'll play
but
reggae
let
for
us play. Let us play the ball as we know how to play. All right, so let's move on. We have a couple of more topics to look at before we call it a day today, and we were going to have a quick review of top five leagues across Europe, and we'll start with very briefly. We're going to talk about the English Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, the France Serie A, the Bundesliga, and which other one?
I think you've mentioned all.
Okay, that's the five of them. So in the EPL, we have the champions Liverpool clinching the trophy for the 2024-2025 season, and in Spanish La Liga, we have Barcelona with 4 points away from Real Madrid. Clinching the trophy. The Italian Serie A, which was a very competitive table, which had a very competitive table.
Played to the wire.
Yeah, exactly. And then Napoli came out with 82 points, followed by Inter Milan with 1 point. So Napoli crowned champions of the Italian league. Then the Bundesliga, we have the usual winners of the Bundesliga. We have Bayern Munich leading the table with 82 points and crowned champions of the German Bundesliga. Then finally, another frequent winner, PSG, winning the 2024-2025 League One season. So, Rafa, let's have your quick review on this five topics.
I would want to first and foremost start with the last one, that's PSG. We might say they are always winning the League One, but I think this win was a different one. Yeah, this win was a different one because Luis Enrique had the opportunity of grooming a team, right, and not just stars. And if you check, this same team are also in the finals of the Champions League. So they really did very well. I think the gap between them and the second team is about 20 points thereabouts.
Yep, 19 points.
So that's to tell you how well this team did, and they are firing from all corners. That team is actually a complete team now. With maybe in the summer they'll just bring in a player or two just to show it up. Then you go to the Italian league, who Conte, with all his stubbornness, said he doesn't need some particular players. He let them go, even people like Osimhen, Varashila, and the likes, and still won the league with Lukaku that everybody thought is finished. And mind you, in that same team, you had the most valuable player of the season in McTominay, who people thought had finished or was finished from Manchester United. And he's the most valuable player of the Italian league. And then we move to the German league. Yes, you have your usual winner in Bayern Munich every now and then, but there's something very significant about this team this time around. You had the Muller, who was leaving, that's number one, and you had the Vincent Kompany, who nobody expected, from Burnley all the way to Bayern Munich. And then last but not the least, you have Harry Kane, who for the very first time is winning something other than golden boots. So congratulations to him, because I'm more concerned about him rather than the Bayern itself. And then we'll go to Spanish La Liga, where Barcelona did 4 over Madrid. In all competitions they met Real Madrid. They were gliding past Madrid, at least as if Madrid does not exist. And the team, also a very youthful side, doing very well. People didn't really expect them to show up the way they did. Yes, they didn't do so well in Champions League, but of course they did well here. And then last but not the least, the English Premier League, where Liverpool won the league with a 10 points gap. And of course, did very well. Nobody expected the team to do well after the change of manager from Klopp to Slot. And Slot came, and mind you, they didn't sign any player, worked with the same players that he had, and got a good result for the Liverpool team.
All right, so just a couple of days back, while Liverpool was celebrating their trophy, there was an incident. Should I say an accident or an incident?
Oh, okay.
We saw a minivan ran into
the crowd.
The crowd of fans
celebrating,
and we have a couple of persons injured. So, what do you have to say about that incident?
That one they don't say if he did.
was that an Arsenal fan that drove that van or a Chelsea fan?
Of course, it cannot be a fan from another team, because they were having their open bus celebration parade and what have you, and one over excited fan. I don't know how people get into such situation where you drive into a crowd. Even if the car is not moving at any speed, you will definitely hurt somebody. So you find yourself in that situation, and I don't know. When the incident happened, the police in the area quickly barricaded and
held a quick response.
Yes, quickly to the car, because at that point in time, we don't know if it was a terrorist attack. It could have been, and if it was, just imagine an explosion in that vicinity. That celebration will just turn sour. And it will not affect Liverpool alone. It will affect the footballing world. So, but I think this goes to tell everybody that yes, you're allowed to celebrate, but do that with some form of decorum. Yeah, so that you don't, in your place of celebration, harm somebody else in the name of your celebration. I think about 6 people or 6 persons were rushed to the hospital that day. I've not heard of any news of anybody dying, but I think those people will remember that day if the injury is not more than what we think it is, they will remember that day for a long time. So I think in our celebration we should do it in some level of decorum.
All right, thank you, Mr. Raphael. Well, let's hear from Dr. Izu. Dr. Izu, we're looking at we're having a quick review of top 5 leagues across Europe, and while Raphael was making his comment, he made mention of the fact that Barcelona defeated your team 4 times this season, and your team is trophyless, just like Arsenal is trophyless. So let's get your review on top 5 leagues. We have the EPL, the Spanish La Liga, the Italian Serie A, the Bundesliga, and the French Ligue 1.
Thank you. I was telling him, I think I was Gossen before the show, that 2025 reminds me of the year 2004, which was the year of the underdog. For those who may not remember, in 2004, Valencia won the league, FC Porto won Champions League, Arsenal went to PT. As in, some kind of funny things that just happened that year. Because before the UEFA Champions League final was between FC Porto and FC Monaco.
Monaco, yeah.
You understand? So, and Porto won 3-0. That was what introduced them, Mourinho, to Chelsea and to the world that we are now. And so in 2025, we are also now facing a similar trend where in England, you see Liverpool winning the league for the first time in front of fans. The last one they won was in front of COVID. Sorry, was in front of empty space. First time that they are having
fans around
in real life, and so different. And you can see Man City are struggling to enter the top 4. They have to become like Arsenal, praying and buying God.
Praying, top 4.
You see underdogs like Newcastle making it. Eventually, even though they lost the last game, you see Nottingham Forest bringing some freshness, And then even in England, you see there was so much democracy. The person who won the league, Liverpool, is different from the person that won the
FA Cup,
that's the Carabao Cup. Newcastle is different from the person that won the FA Cup, which is Crystal Palace. So there was democracy. It went round. The only formula worked. In fact, another person who won from the, like I was saying, the trainers of the year, the person who finished 16th and 17th in the Premier League They're the ones who play the final
of Europa Cup.
Of the UEFA League. You see how ironic it is. So it's a year of surprises, and then if you also go to the Italian league, see Napoli surprisingly came in and won the league on the last day. They had a new coach, and Conte, who for some reason did not play the best striker, our own Osimhen. In fact, honestly, I didn't want Napoli to win that league because I also don't like how they said the same. Not the person not quarrel before, you just came and said you want to go this time to win. So, but again, they won. And in January, after having lost Osimhen to Galatasaray in August or so, or September, in January, their talisman, Kvaratskhelia, whatever his name is, to PSG. And again, the team soldiered on, unlike some teams that will give you excuses that they didn't have their best players, now they come to NBA. The coach soldiered with what he had. And the average players like Scott McTominay now becoming the Serie A MVP, to tell you how the team fought for each other. And it was also ironic that the Serie A MVP Scott McTominay did not make the Serie A team of the.
Is it not funny? MVP no make team of the season.
No, we also makes it an interesting in 2004. And again, the surprise is not end there. Bologna, who have never won a trophy in over 30 years, won the Italian Cup over season contenders like AC Milan, who had everything to fight for. So it was a year of surprises too, and our own Ademola Lookman proved that last year was not a fluke when he won the African Footballer of the Year. This season now is also making the Serie A team of the year. And then when you go to France, of course, the business as usual, PSG won the league like 3 months ago, but for them to have reached the UEFA Champions League final shows that they have been improved. And that made it to Spain. I must commend Barcelona for winning the league,
and Copa del Rey.
And beating Real Madrid a couple of times. But I will still go back to my club, Real Madrid. They had a very bad filmmaking process. I say it again. That team did not need Mbappe.
But he scored 40 goals.
No. He has won the Golden Boot, no problem. Ronaldo is winning Golden Boot in Saudi Arabia. Yes, and that's this time. They're not going for the Champions League. So when the team signs you, they sign you to help you win trophies, not to help you win trophies. It's a team sport. So the team always comes ahead of the individual. Now, Ralph, it's not surprising to you that PSG lost Real Madrid. So lost Mbappe to Real Madrid. Now, without Neymar,
Messi and Mbappe,
that team is now at the Champions League final and may even end up winning it because now that an Arsenal fan is ready Inter Milan this week, that didn't enter that bad luck. If PSG wins on Saturday, I will not be surprised because somebody has against them. I'm trying to make.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Desu. You're saying that an Arsenal fan is well.
I'll go and wear PSG next week.
All right. So, Doctor, please continue with your statement, your comments, sir. Yeah.
You see that the recruitment was not balanced. The team did not replace their midfield maestro, Toni Kroos. Now, Modric is leading. If they like, if you go and keep buying only strikers, when there is no defense, when and playing Tchouaméni in defense for the stop down. But like I said, congrats to Barcelona. But you can also see the point I was making that made 2025 a strange year. If you look at those who qualified for Champions League from different leagues or for UEFA League, you see that it is not business as usual.
Yes.
In Spain, yes, you had Barcelona, Real Madrid, for example. They had a 5 contenders. I think Bilbao will play in Champions League next season. and Villarreal, who even didn't start the season very well.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So the former big names that you were thinking, we don't see them when they rest like that qualify for Europa Champions League and Champions last season. They didn't even appear in the top 10 this season. So it's continuous improvement. And if you go to Germany, the same thing. Bayer Leverkusen, they improved. So now we have Bayern Munich, and finally somehow God has done it that
Hurricane
has now won Hurricane and Erigia, and even with the company who's an IT coach now doing something, so God has done it for them, and we are praying that God has done it for them, will do it for Arsenal.
Amen. Oh.
I think we don't talk to 5 years, so before it gets to 10 years, that's what we need for them to win something. But that brings my final point. If you look at the different leagues, nobody tolerates failure. See Real Madrid now, and tell you know this and that won back-to-back leagues and Champions League and they didn't finish trophies. His first season finishing trophies, he has been let go. But there are some clubs linked with us for security reasons who, when their coach doesn't win, we hear things like trust the process.
We're trusting him.
They keep generating all sorts of excuses. The referees in the league are against us. And
the Ojoro too much, Jare.
Left a lot of our goal again. They'll just leave the man. So, but there's no time. It is sports. We are here for business. And so, our own Nigerian team should learn from that. We are here for business. No time for excuses. You're going to do a job, you can't deliver, up you go. And that's what makes the team fresh. See, Tottenham coach now, he has won the Europa League. His job is not sure. They are going to contemplate that it's a certain because the league here he finished in the league. So I think overall we have had a very exciting race in at least 2 of the 5 top leagues. Because England and France finished their own long ago, and then maybe Germany, but the Italian league go to the last team. It pays that Inter could not take their chances when Napoli were drawing 2. I think they're second to last and they're third to last game. They played draws. And if Inter had won against Lazio, didn't win, they went to concede a last minute goal. And that's what a lesson for those who don't take their chances. There's a club in England who dropped points from winning positions, about 21 points, if I'm not mistaken. Their fan is in the studio there now. I don't know. They habitually drop
we'll come for you
points from winning position. So if you don't in sports, just like yesterday when Rebel on top in the first half, once you have your chances, take them. Because when your opponent has their chances, they might take them and you come and start blaming these chances.
Yeah.
So when Inter Milan had the opportunity to, win, they had 2 draws. One was 1-1, the other one was 2-2 against Lazio. If they had won any of those 2 games, Inter would have won the league. Now the Lazio, when they choose to win, Inter also Napoli also
won.
All right,
so
thank you. Thank you.
In life.
Yeah.
Take your chances when you have them. Don't take for luck and start praying for other people to feel that you can succeed. You can succeed without needing others to fail for you to succeed. We look forward to the Club World Cup for Real Madrid to win something, to welcome our new coach, and then to give Luka Modric a well-deserved and partner trophy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Just before you go, I want to take this as your last word for this show today. You made mention of Inter's misfortune in the Italian Serie A. All right, so in 10 seconds, I want to hear your prediction. You know they are still in a competition which is the UEFA Champions League. So I want to hear your prediction in 10 seconds. Who do you predict to be the champions of Europe this year, UEFA Champions League?
Even though the bookmakers favor PSG, I think I would want Inter Milan to win. We really suffer. Don't forget they were in the Champions League final 2 or 3 years ago. Where they lost
to Chelsea.
I think to Bayern.
They lost to Chelsea.
No, it was Man City they lost.
Okay, yeah, Man City. Yes, Man City.
All right.
Champions League final.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so Comrade Soku, please, I want you in, very fast, in 2 minutes. Let's have your general review of the competitions across the globe this season, pointing most especially at the Europa final, Tottenham Man U, and at the Conference League final, Real Betis Chelsea. And then finally, you round up in 2 minutes. I said 2 minutes. Finally, you round up with your prediction for the UEFA Champions League finals.
Okay, thank you very, very much. I know time is quite spent, so I will try to be brief as much as possible. On the Bundesliga and the French League, and I think the Premier League, these leagues were decided a long time ago, so it was not actually so competitive at the final stages, unlike the Italian Serie A and even the Spanish league that I think it was the Clásico that nailed the final nail for Real Madrid. So on Inter, I actually predicted Napoli to actually win the league because Inter was actually fighting at a point. They were fighting from 3 different fronts. They were at the final, they were at the semi-final of, I think, the Coppa Italia, and they were knocked out by, I think, AC Milan. They were challenging for the Champions League, and they were also challenging for their league. So I felt that it would be too overwhelming for them. And my prediction was actually correct because Napoli actually clinched it on the final day. But it was actually the ultimate match that actually decided that league because at a point, Inter against Lazio and Napoli against Genoa. Napoli actually dropped points against Genoa, and it was left for Inter to actually win that match against Lazio. If they have won that match, they would have gone to top of the league, pending the final match day. So that was not the case, and Napoli actually clinched it from two goals from I think McTominay and Lukaku. So congratulations to Napoli. Also, generally on the English Premier League, I would want to give kudos to the English teams. They performed very, very well because I think they have 9 representatives in Europe, and I think across the 5 leagues, they have the highest number of teams representing their league in Europe. So generally, they performed very, very well. Finally, on my prediction for the Inter against the PSG game, I would say Inter has suffered at a point they were challenging for Terry. But personally, I feel that they are not going to get any because I see PSG actually clinching that particular game. So because of the firepower, I think the firepower, the attacking flair might just be too much for Inter Milan. So I see PSG actually winning the Champions League. On the Conference League and the Europa League, I'll start with the Europa League. I'll save the best for last. The Europa League against Tottenham, Manchester United, it was actually very underwhelming. It was not exciting. I watched the game. It was crappy. They just,
when 16th and 17 are playing, what do you expect?
It was like I was watching
table soccer.
Volleyball. It was crappy. It was not like a final. So I think there was no standard events in that particular match. So congratulations to Tottenham. I'm glad that they actually won that particular match because I don't think that Manchester United deserved the trophy. They were a disaster this season. So congratulations to Tottenham. As for Chelsea, Real Betis started very well. It was a game I felt that the first 20 minutes there was no way that we were going to win. But what I would want to say in this particular game is that the difference in quality actually stood out when the chips were down because when you look at that particular league, I don't think that the teams were up to Chelsea's caliber. To be honest, I don't think Real Betis, to be fair, I don't think they can actually play any of the top 4 teams in England, just to be honestly fair. So it was not surprised there's the big difference in quality between these Spanish teams and the
English
English
teams.
teams. You can also remember that Manchester United were able to beat
comrade,
Atletico Bilbao
comrade,
twice.
comrade,
So yeah,
comrade.
so
This team you're making reference to, Real Betis, held Chelsea for over 75 minutes.
They held,
yeah, yeah.
but did they finish holding
They
them?
held Chelsea for over.
Did they finish holding them?
So I think we need to give
you need to look at the final
kudos
scoreline.
to
You need to look
Enzo
at the final
Maresca
scoreline. It was
for
not. It
for
was. It was a whooping at the end. It was
yeah.
4-1. The result was 4-1.
Mm.
So the difference in quality was actually very 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 glaring. So congratulations to Sancho. Congratulations to
Maresca.
the Manchester United rejects that are actually going on to win trophies.
Yes, now.
It's a good one. Thank you very much.
We have another Manchester United reject on the other side in the person of Anthony. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, thank you. It's been we've had a lot to talk about this morning, and all of it we want to go with the last word Dr. Izu left us with. He said, when you have the opportunity, grab it and run with it. And so thank you to Comrade Abraham Soko for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Izu, for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Rafa, for joining us.
Thank you very
Michael
much.
Uncle.
Thank you so much, Ibuka, and a very big thank you to all of our guests and especially our viewers for staying tuned to this station.
All right, thank you, viewers. Let's do this again one more time next week, Thursday, 10 a.m., same station. Until then, this is goodbye from all of us.